am Pule Molebati for Stories Untold. Welcome to the home of good news. Thank you for choosing us as your source of information today. Family and community support are key when it comes to rehabilitating and, of course, reintegration of ex-offenders back into communities. Thus, when this doesn't happen, you find that ex-offenders go back to their criminal ways. Now, entrepreneur, ex-offender, and author Temba Lukele is providing ex-offenders with tools to reintegrate them into communities to help them sway away from going back into crime. And this is his story.
Temba Lukele learned some hard life lessons when he got arrested. He wants to give back to the people that he hurt and to those on the path of making mistakes. He wishes to help change their direction. According to him, it is easy to fall back to the life of crime than to turn a new leaf.
I-red tape uhlangana nayo ungaphandle kunabantu abakhona abahleli bala out of 100% yabantwana abafundayo bahambile ba university bayawushaya vele unyaka oqala wesi2 wesi3 and then bashaya ama 4th year mabaqedile only 14% bacreate tiro. What does that mean? What happens to that other 70 something? Kwenzakaleni ngabo? So it tells you wena mawucabanga mawubuye ejele ucabanga ukuthi wena uzofika uthole a hero's welcome. It's witchcraft. Forget. Mawubuye ejele you must just know ukuthi you join at the last end. You'll be carrying a short end of the stick. When uzobamba emsileni then uzodla ama crumbs until ube patient, and patience is a virtue because the only door that opens is the prison door. Mawubuye ejele mawungena ejele umhlaba wakho uyachange completely. Le ndaba kaMnumzane noma bekuthiwa uprofessor makufika ileta kwakhe egate iphelile wona ibhanti into usiboshwe ngoba sowuphuma you'll enjoy it while it lasts. Only a few they survive mabephuma bakwazi ukuhamba ngaleyo gimmick or bakwazi ukuhamba ngaleyo vibration yabo. So I was just fighting to gravitate towards positivity. That is why I ended up being an epitome. Etanyane ngathi I'm going to be a laxative. I'm changing prison time into the best time of my life. Mboshiwe and ngivumile. Ijele akusinto ekumele iphile ebantwini. I had said ebantwini mina ngeke ngafa ngavuka bathi why usho njalo ngathi ngesintu ngesizulu ijele ukufa. So for me to go there to come back ngizelwe kabusha.
Temba was released after serving 3 years of his sentence and served the rest of it while out on parole. Coming back and being integrated into society wasn't easy as he had to start from scratch.
There were a lot of red tapes and I was hoping good no scheme was popular, was famous. I had a place before ngejele busy scheme GP and they running nightlife ekuruleni kuzama celebrity abo Khanyi bra Lucas Khatebe Lindani Mkhize and all of them, you name them. So I thought no kuzoba easy. There was no lower hanging fruit for me. I had to start all over again out yami. Ngiye ngizihambule ngiqala indlela yami yase church ngiziclear ngiye kuma victims, survivors, ask for forgiveness, ngiye kubantu abangiphaka bafethu no life goes on. Clear my path ngicela ukumove manje. I started building ngabiza amajita azimisele bra Tapelo bra Soli success abantu abafike nginabo gents asiqaleni sibuilding na into ekuthiwa foundation. I've got a vision.
Temba is working tirelessly through his foundation Scheme GP to help former inmates find their way once they have left prison. One of the ex-offenders he is currently working with and taking him under his wing is Tapelo Masukwane. Tapelo was serving a 7-year sentence when he met Temba Lukele, and from there, his life changed for the better.
I met him for the first time in Yoko prison. He was there doing another program, so Rasoli called me and told me, so come, we're having a revamping prison, book things. So I was there, I met him. Liked me, I liked him, he saw potential in me, and we decided to say, Tapelo, I see something in you. And by that time, even to this day, I'm not working. There are challenges that there's a danger that I can even go back to crime because of the socio-economic moyo, and particularly people like us, we have criminal records. It's hard for us to penetrate into the corporate space. So he saw, he said, now Tapelo, I'll give you a platform. I'll help you to build, and he has been doing that by giving me platforms, introducing me. Even to this day, here I am having this interview is because of that platforms that I am receiving to him to say, here is an exposure. I see Thailand. Maybe someone can watch this, might be interested and change your life forever. So that's how he has impacted my life, encouraging me, Tapelo. You know, there are times we come to blows, but he says, Bafana, no. This is the way, this is how we go, and this is where you should be. Stick to your dream. You are gifted, you are talented. Don't think things will happen overnight. Just stick to the fight as much as you can.
Kune-terminology ethanda ukusetshenziswa abantu abadala bathi uNkulunkulu usiza abantu abayisizayo. uThapelo started putting his best foot forward and then he rose his hand. Nasenkonzweni bayakubuza ubani ofuna ukwamukela uJesu njengenkosi nomsindisi. If obviously you are saying no with my 10 fingers on the Bible, mina ngifuna uku, so the sign of failure is denial. He did not deny ukuthi he has issues. Issues of the heart, matters of the heart. He has issues whether financially, physically, emotionally. There's a funa assistwa ngazo. So he had to say, I am humbling myself and I am willing and able to be assisted. Guys, I'm available. What can you do? So we are working with people who are meeting us halfway. Because angeke siloko siya nathi siyathela, we are planting only to find ukuthi the bucket it's got holes. It cannot hold any water. So we chose him because he chose us.
I'm not alone. I think he's, I don't want to say Jesus, but based on my analysis on him and what I've seen, and is that I've seen a lot of ex-offenders. Even in Soweto, when I start say Temba Lukele, everybody knows him. To say, you know that guy? I say, yeah. And how can, because Lebanon, they are from prison. So for me, I don't know him that much. I will be lying. But based on the experience and the platforms and what I've seen, is someone who doesn't want everything for himself. You know, he is open to say, Bafetu, you are talented. Bring whatever, your expertise, whatever you do, bring it on board, and I'll give you platforms. I'll expose to my connections and my networks. So that's how, or that's what I know about him.
Longtime friend and business partner Solin Kalabi was influenced and inspired by Temba's new lease in life.
Behind bars, he was also very intentional about transforming his life in total. That's why he was involved in most positive rehabilitation programs. He was more involved in positive activities, because you'd know that in prison you would have gangsterism, and gangsterism is very rife. But he chose to live a different life. He chose to become a leader, because he became one of the chairperson of the biggest organization inside prison. And that's why he even wrote this book, you know. He wrote his book. This book was written behind bars. So he was very intentional about changing his life, you know, after also realizing that he has committed crimes and he needed to change his life. So that kind of prepared him to become a better person post-prison. So he used every resource and every opportunity to empower himself. So in a nutshell, I could say he invested in his time in education and in positive programs behind bars. So post-prison, it was easy for him to reintegrate, because of he was transformed. He was intentional about turning his life around.
Welcome back to the show. Temba Lukele, who is a featured guest today on Stories Untold, created a foundation, Scheme GP, to assist ex-offenders with tools to reintegrate and rehabilitate them back into communities. And he is sharing with us now how his time, the time that he did in prison, has assisted him to be kinder and more understanding to people who have walked the same path as him.
44-year-old former businessman Temba Lukele was living the high life. He owned a fancy nightclub, drove around luxury cars, and lived in lavish houses. All this was attained from a life of crime, and he never imagined it would be taken away from him. We sat down with him to get to know his history and what influenced him into crime.
Back in 1979, a child was born in Natal Spread Hospital. It's found in the far east of Ekurhuleni, eqaleni bekwi East Rand, but now it's called Ekurhuleni, eKatlehong section. So section yami bengihlala kuyo bayibiza iMngadi. So iMngadi, in those times and those years, bekune political ambivalent violence between the AFP and the ANC. That's where I was born. So the beginning of the story and what gave birth to a man that you see today, it's because I used to spend many nights with guns of war. Ngoba community maba decide ukuthi let's collect money. We can't be pushed over by the Zulu speaking people, and eqaleni bewabizwa ngejunkie kunamagama abhaya, derogatory terms. So let's just find means and ways as a community sizama ukuhlanganisa amagani and then try to make sure that we fight back. So of course, amakasa alandelayo Khatewe, Mavimbela, it was just organic for them. It came natural for them to piggyback on whatever that was happening at that time. So we started fighting back. So mina ngintwana 15 years of age, mara because edladleni my house was shown as a base, so bekuziwa kubekwa imigaka. So zonke lento ze community bezihlala edladleni. So one time I decided to steal one of many guns going to school. Reason, just wanted to be worshipped and to be relevant as kid. And I was popular, I was famous, and abantwana besikele were so excited to see AK-47 because ngiphathule kuphi endlini. And obviously nge-negligence amajita patrolayo mawaphumile siwavayile bayogeza abanye, mina ngithola chance ngadonsa igun and bengifunda comprehensive high school. So that's the beginning of my story, and that's what gave birth, to Temba Lukele.
Growing up in the dusty streets of Katlehong, Temba got mixed with the wrong crowd. That's how he got introduced to the life of crime at an early age.
In townships, there's something that's called group dominant thinking. Group dominant thinking, so amachita hlele khona. Amachita cula ithola kanjani hlele khona. So man hleli da. In the absence of anything positive, trouble is inevitable. So you end up, because ni change my ideas, and manje mina ke bengile out le who was a go-getter. I mean, even edladleni from ukudlala ngamabhoni senza amakite, I was the guy to go to. So of course, because I always saw I had these leadership qualities. So now, of course, when you don't have any road or if on a direction, any road will lead you. So we end up siba nesikhathi sipha ezandleni zethu. So ngagcina ngathi no man, cash is king. Into ebalulekile, I mean, ngiyabona abantu bayaphila, but I wanted good life. So the only way, obviously, was for me ukuthi ngithole ngama-unscrupulous ways. So obviously, that's when we started committing crime against humanity.
Most individuals would commit crime due to their background and socioeconomic status. But Temba's longtime friend Solin Khalabi attributes his behavior to mixing with bad people and being exposed to guns at an early age.
He was a guy who always, was very ambitious about living a very successful life and living what we call today, as the young people of today, they'll call it a soft life. He was that kind of a guy. So I think that kind of influence in the township during those political violence situations, they kind of had an influence, on him. That's why he then later find himself engaging in various crime-related activities.
Temba got into the life of crime due to the influence of one of his friends.
I yielded into that temptation of theirs because I ended up saying to them, okay, look, mina nguShumak, bangibiza uShumak, bengishaya icar. So makuvaya kuyontshontsha icar, bekuyimo driver. Mara in Kenya didn't, because vaya untshontsha icar mawubuya, thengisa imoto nge-2,000 rand, ishare ama-5 clipper ngata, this thing is taking forever. I converted real quick, ngayibuyisela straight eganini. Then from lapho we graduated from one level of crime to another. Hence today the media has labeled me in South Africa as a kingpin and a mastermind in serious robberies, because they said this man, most cash in transit heists that were committed around the country, it was this man.
Temba was arrested back in 2013 for a domestic violence case that led him to be implicated in other cases. That was the beginning of his downfall.
I was arrested for a case, a domestic matter, firstly, between myself and the partner, Mama Intwana Yami. So it was, when something, you are living your life, minding your own business. Now I swayed away from life here crime. I was just building now towards being a businessman or solid. Mara, remember, the cloud was hovering to say you've made money through crime proceeds. But again, fast forward, I was trial for all of those cases. I went to court. I spent considerable amounts of money. I lost everything that I had and the money that I've worked for. If I've worked hard or simple or smart, now it's immaterial. The fact remains I lost everything. So I had to start all over again.
Pastor Mkiti Dlamini, who is a family friend and spiritual mentor to Temba, shared with us how difficult it was for the family to learn about their son's criminal activities.
We were not happy because even when he was imprisoned, we had to visit. I had to visit him also in the Boxburg prison, try to talk to him, and then because now that type of, he even told me one day that type of life that is there in prison is very bad. They are Satanists and all those things, and then he survives because of God. If it was not because of our prayers that he must come out of the lifestyle that he was in, he will never actually be able to see what God has for him. As intelligent as he was, and then he can use that intelligence in the things of God and to build a business so that he can be able to support the family, not to be involved in crime.
It was not a question of Temba gune issue ekona. No, it was a question of I was exposed to these weapons of mass destruction, AK-47 at my disposal. One. So now that is what I'm always saying. Influence is serious over emakasi. Abantu ababhaya bayithatha kancane into yokuthi ubona intwana zimile sekhoneni. We need to pay attention to details. Once umntwana yenza into ezifana, you must know ukuthi he's crying out for help. So mina, I just decided now I'm good no outside of outright naughtiness, let me commit crime against humanity. No mother was sent me. It was just to Temba because things were available, things were here, and in the absence of anything positive, very trouble was bound to happen.
This is Stories Untold. Thank you for being here and going on this journey with us. Today we follow the story of Temba Lukele, who created a foundation, Scheme GP. We now follow him as he does his outreach program. But also it's important to notice that it is through difficult times that beautiful beginnings are created.
Through his foundation, Scheme GP, Temba hopes to raise awareness about crime, and if he can help one person, he would have done his job. Temba detailed all his experiences in his book titled Through It All, which was released in 2017, and another one called Kingpin, which came out recently.
Scheme GP Foundation, it's a big vehicle now with many satellites within that very same vehicle. So our aim and objective is to stretch wider beyond the borders of SA and touch life at every point. Hence, we ended up now undertaking this route podcast.
As a child, I decided, nay, I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to go with my chains and we're going to do crime.
We are reaching people through intambo zokuxhumana, whether internet. So, and it's going to gain a lot of traction, and it will gravitate us towards Lendesifuna in terms of the numbers, and people needs to know about this because we are conscientizing people. Then secondly, Scheme GP, it's a university,
With the collaboration of other stakeholders and familiar faces, the Scheme GP Foundation hosts motivational school talks to sway young kids away from the life of crime.
Temba is my business partner, my brother, my friend, and I support his foundation because what I like about Temba is that he goes out there, he speaks to the youth. He is actually a breath of fresh air to the youth, giving them, enlightening them about their future, making sure that they still follow the right path, especially because of his experiences in life. So Scheme GP Foundation is actually here to support the youth, encourage them, motivate them, educate them, and also giving them support, especially to stay away from drugs, to stay away from, teenage pregnancy, and also a lot of things that, the problems that youth, the challenges that youth go through. So I always support Scheme GP Foundation, and we always partner in everything that we do when it comes to, especially against GBV and telling the kids to stay away from drugs.
If you have a good friend, if that friend is wise, if that friend loves you, show me your friends, I'll show you your future.
If you look at the foundation, there's a lot of young people that have been absorbed by the foundation. They've been taken away from the street so that they can participate in this kind of programs. I mean, part of the programs is GBV, gender-based violence. They are very big on that. And if you look at people who participate in those programs, are young people from Ekasi, from the township, and there's more. I mean, he has touched a lot of lives. He has helped a lot of ex-offenders and parolees to start their businesses. He has helped a lot of school kids, to focus in their education.
This is actually my first time working with Temba. I generally know him as an uncle and a godfather, and I know all the amazing work that he does, and I genuinely wanted to be a part of it. I think it's one thing that I love about him is that it's always great to hear from someone who's walked in your shoes, and I think that's what makes his story so special. That's what makes his initiative so special, is that he relates so much to these young people here, and I just wanted to be a part of it as best as I possibly could, and share maybe what I could possibly relate to. I have never walked in any of their shoes, but to shed some light in terms of what I've been through, my experiences, etc., and to just collaborate that with what Temba has been through. I think it's really, really amazing, and we're just here to share our stories and hope that they're going to inspire everyone else.
We saw it with abazali bachinche isikole dumping zone. Let's go back to again. Masfika, we get politicians, we get community leaders, we get spiritual leaders, and we are saying spiritual care workers, so you make it in the school. Masfika, so you shanje ngati, tina bekino corporal punishment, sifaki dustbin e-18. Masicethile mawuvela ngathi uvundra, sivundu ufaka isigqoko zakho senavara se-LS, thatha isigqoko esifake edustbin. Mawuvela ngesikhafunyana esibheke eceleni sifake edustbin. Umama kutheni mawuphuma ngale ikhafu? Umama kutheni mawuphuma ngagamanga siphathela ikama egate sikame. So that's what we are doing now as we're going back to schools, to say, guys, we need to instill discipline. If kungekho njalo, we are producing abantu esibaziyo ukuthi these people, they would never ever bafike kule nyaka esifike kuyo.
What I wish is that God can just bless. This thing doesn't end just in Katlehong. It goes to Tembisa. It goes to all South Africa.
It is possible to change your life. If he can change his life, then it means all of us, we can change our lives.
And in True Stories Untold style, we end our show here for today, leaving you with a message. Is it really too late to start again? And is there such thing as too wrong, too bad, and having to go offline? Can you come back and start your life again? Let's talk about it on social media at Stories Untold SABC. From myself, Pule Molobati, and the rest of the team, let's do this again, same time, same place. Goodbye.